In this video, we're going to take a look at doing a simple interest calculation with a calculator. And the goal here is to do it very quickly in just one step. I'll show you using 3 different calculator models to represent the different situations that can occur. The first one is a Casio calculator, which is currently set up for math or natural input. The second one is a Sharp calculator that's set up for line input. And the last one is an iPhone calculator, which would also represent any single line display calculator. Let's take a look at the problem. We have a deposit with a term of 3 months that pays an interest rate of 6% per year. If $180 in interest is earned on maturity, we're asked to determine the principal invested. So normally we would start solving this problem using the simple interest formula, which is I equals PRT, and we'd substitute in the values that were given. So our interest is $180, that's I. We're asked to find the principal, P. Our interest rate is 6% per year, which is 0.06, and our time is 3 months, which is 3/12 of a year. So we need to solve this equation for P. And normally to do that, we would multiply 0.06 by 3/12, and then we would do 180 divided by that result. So how can we do this in one step with a calculator? Well, let's start with the Casio model. I'll begin by doing 0.06 times 3/12. So we get 0.06 times 3/12. Now I'm going to use the fraction button here. So fraction button 3/12. And that gives me the answer here as a fraction. And this is the number that I now need to divide into 180. Remember, we're solving for P, so we need to do 180 divided by the result that we just got. Well, that result that we just got is actually stored in our calculator, and we'd like to make use of that. So I can do 180 divided by, and I can ask the calculator to call up the result that we just got using this answer key. And there it is, $12,000. That's the principal invested. Now there are other ways that you can do this too. For example, if we did 0.06 times 3/12, this time I'll do 3 divided by 12. Since we're only multiplying and dividing here, we don't need to input any brackets. We've seen this result before. Now I'd like to do 180 divided by this result. Well, another way we can handle that is to do this result divided by 180. Now you might say, but that's not what we want. And that's true. But if I do this result divided by 180, it's kind of like dividing the wrong way. We get this result, and that's not what we want, but it is the reciprocal of what we want. That is, it's the flip of what we want. And we can actually just tell our calculator to flip this result and give us the answer we're looking for. And that is done using this x to the -1 button here, this reciprocal button. So if I just hit that and then hit equals, there's our $12,000 principal. And I'll just show you one other way. If we do 0.06 times 3/12, we would like to do 180 divided by this result. Another way to handle that is to do 180 times 1 over this result. That is, multiply by its reciprocal. So I can take the reciprocal of this by hitting x to the -1. And now I can just multiply by 180. So 3 options, choose whichever one you're most comfortable with. This will look very similar on the Sharp calculator here, which is in line mode. And I'll just show you that quickly. So 0.06 times 3/12 gives us this result. This time it's a decimal because that's the way the calculator is set up. And I'd like to do 180 divided by that number. So one way I could do that is I could just hit 180 divided by, and I can call up the previous answer. I have to use this little ANS here, which is in green. So I hit alpha and then the equals sign, and there it is, $12,000. I can also use the reciprocal button on this calculator. So 0.06 times 3 divided by 12. Now I can divide the wrong way. We'd like to do 180 divided by this, but I could go divided by 180, so it's backwards, it's upside down. So that's not the result I want, but if I use the reciprocal button, which is right here, it's on top of the x squared button. So I'll hit second function, and that button. There's the $12,000. And last but not least, I could go 0.06 times 3 divided by 12. I want to divide this into 180. So I'd like to do 180 divided by this number. So I can do 180 multiplied by the reciprocal of this number. So to get the reciprocal, second function, reciprocal button there, that's the reciprocal. And if I multiply that by 180, I get 12,000. So lots of options. Choose whichever one you find to be the simplest. Now with the iPhone or single-line display calculator, well, this one doesn't have the answer key, so we have to use the reciprocal approach if we want to do it in one step. So here we could go 0.06 times 3 divided by 12 to get that result. And we'll first do the dividing the wrong way approach. So we'd like to do 180 divided by this. So let's do this divided by 180. See what that works out to. And now we want to do the reciprocal. This is not the answer we want. This is the flip of the answer we want. On this calculator, the reciprocal button is 1 over x. So if I hit that, there's the 12,000. And last but not least, you can use the reciprocal button a bit earlier if you want. 0.06 times 3 divided by 12 gives us this result. I can now take the reciprocal of that and multiply it by 180. So many, many options. And no matter which one you choose, you should get that the principal is $12,000. There you go.